So it's June 24th, 2016. We've seen another dry Michigan spring thus far, not unlike the last couple of years. Here we are 3/4 of the way through the month of June, and at least in the south central Michigan, we've only received about 1/4 of an inch of rain. So not where we want to be. May and April were also relatively dry, receiving about 50% of our 30-year average for precipitation. So it's setting itself up to be a dry spring. As spring now rolls into summer, it's also setting itself up to be a dry summer. Temperatures tend to be a little above normal. So again, not the best conditions. Crop health, at least here in south central Michigan, soybeans don't look too bad thus far, as long as you got them in on time. There's still some moisture beneath the surface. That undoubtedly will start to go away unless we get one of these rogue rain showers to fall on this portion of the state. One of the things when we see dry conditions, especially in spring and into early summer, one of the things that we tend to forget is that even though soil test levels for something like phosphorus and potassium might be sufficient or might be adequate or above those critical limits, those nutrient levels may not be sufficient this time of year simply because the lack of water. So in order for a nutrient to be uptaken by a plant, you still have to have soil moisture. Whether a nutrient moves by mass flow or diffusion, it still has to move from point A to point B in that root zone through the transpirational stream of water or through the movement of water. And if you don't have sufficient water or soil moisture in that soil profile, we tend to start to see those nutrient deficiency symptoms begin to show up, even though those soil test levels might be at or above critical limits. Those producers that do not irrigate, which by far is the bulk of Michigan crop production, you will begin to see some of these nutrient deficiencies show up much earlier in the season than otherwise we normally would. And that goes across most of the macronutrients and most of the micros that we also apply. These dry soil conditions don't allow for sufficient nutrient movement in that soil profile. The other thing we need to think about here is oftentimes we want to then rely on foliar nutrient applications to perhaps make up for the nutrient shortage that we are seeing. Oftentimes under dry soil conditions, we do not get very good foliar uptake of the macros or the micros. So until we get a rainfall and those soil moisture conditions begin to correct themselves and to become less limiting, we tend not to see a response to those foliar applications, and we will not see that nutrient deficiency corrected.